It's Maggie Mulhern from Modern Salon TV. I am here at the Millennium Experience in Scottsdale, Arizona, and look who I bumped into. It's Jeff Grissler, who is one of our favorite authors. He's written a zillion books for the salon industry, and he wants to make you a better hairdresser and a better salon owner. And we were just talking about your most recent book, which is called
Salon Business, How to Survive in Good Times and Bad. And just believe it or not, it just was released on Amazon about a month ago, and it hit bestseller status.
Well, don't they all? Don't they all hit bestseller?
Well, they don't all hit bestseller status. It's based on how many sales you have, and we hit bestseller status in that book, so it's everybody needs it.
That's so great. Okay, so I said to Jeff, what are the most important things about the book? And the book is about how to survive in good times and bad. And you said, let's go over, what are the top 3 things we can learn from you?
Well, I thought when we wrote the book that we would just touch on people who are really struggling. Then we said, well, people always want to be better at what they do, but we really geared for the salon that's having a difficult time and really just doesn't know how to get out of the woods. And I think the number one thing they ask is, where do I start? I'm struggling. I may have to close. It's affecting my family, it's affecting my staff, it's affecting me. What do I do? And I think the first thing you have to look at your biggest expenses, and what is your biggest expense besides salary, is your rent. So the first thing you have to do is when you're really struggling is go back to your landlord and say you're in trouble. And that's the last thing we want to hear, because if you're a good tenant, you have some sizable space, they may be willing to negotiate with you. And just tell them, this is it. If this doesn't work, you need to work with me. And we talk about the whole process about how going through that with your landlord.
And quite frankly, it's a win-win, because if you're going to go out of business, they're losing anyway, so it behooves them to renegotiate.
Well, a lot of times landlords kick in money for build-out and TI, so it's up to them. So they may have invested $50,000, $100,000 in your salon, and here it is, you're struggling. They may not know about it because you're paying them first. So they may put your rent on the back end of the lease, lower the rent, in the time being until you get yourself back on your feet. So that's one of the biggest topics.
Okay, and what is the other big topic? We're only doing 3, so what's your second favorite?
Well, a lot of people look at their distributor, whether it be Salon Centric, BSG, and they don't use their salesperson as a tool to help them grow their business. They just buy products from them. They come in, they have a cup of coffee, they talk about the kids, their kids, what they do on the weekend, but they don't talk about growing their business. So one of the most important people I say to them is your product salesperson. Tell them you're struggling. See if they have any sales that they're offering, new products. Maybe they could do a salon promotion with you and give you some retail. Bring in a celebrity stylist for you to help grow your business. Give a little pop in your business. Get your staff excited. Get your customers excited. And it usually doesn't cost anything. It's free advice.
Okay. And number 3?
Oh boy, number 3. Marketing. Everybody thinks business is terrible. Let's just stop the marketing. Well, if you stop the marketing, what does that do? It stops your customers, newbies, new customers. You can't get walk-in business and new business without advertising. And, ask, and a lot of the times you think about, we talk about one thing that's very important. When you go through your cycle in a day as a man or a woman, how many people do you touch in a day? If you have kids, you get them ready for school, you get them ready for camp, you get them ready for whatever. So you go right your door, maybe the first thing you do is drop your children off at school. How many people do you see there that maybe don't come to your salon? Next stop, maybe a yoga class. You go to the gym. How many people do you see there? Starbucks on the way to work, maybe the bank. You're always around new people that could possibly be potential customers. So if you're struggling in business, you have to learn how to ask for it. You're not you're a great hairstylist, but be a great salesperson as well. So we talk about that as well.
That's great advice. I'm going to throw in one thing that we didn't talk about before this, so I don't know how you're going to react. How do you feel about Groupon?
Groupon. Wow. Okay.
Oh, he backed up. I don't know if you noticed that.
We have that on our book, Groupon. It's fantastic. Okay, so discounting your services. Well, what if you have 3 stylists? If you're struggling and you can't get new business and you need more business, and you have 2 or 3 people working for you, whether they're commission or booth rental, let's fill up their booth. Let's fill up that commission person and go Groupon. If you're not working in the salon and everybody's complaining about not having customers, throw in a Groupon. I love it.
Okay, and I lied. I do have one more question. The last one, and I promise. How do you deal with a bad review on Yelp?
Well, Yelp, it's the worst thing in the world for us, but it's the best thing in the world for us. How many people come and have a service, or how many times you go to a restaurant and you have a bad meal, but that bad meal may be based on, you may have an argument with your husband or wife, maybe you got laid off from work, and you're going out to eat that night, and the first thing is, this food is terrible, and you go back on Yelp and you post that. The only way that you could go back is with your customers, and they could respond, and you ask them to respond in a favorable way. I mean, if you know that you're a good stylist and you're a good salon, how you combat a Yelp is not be responding to that person, because then you're putting fuel and gasoline on the fire. Get your customers, your stylists, your employees to go to their family and customers and say, do us a favor. Could you go back and tell us about your experience? So you bury the bad one with good stuff. Because if you go back and fight fire with fire and your emotions, it's only going to create a problem, because they're going to keep responding and responding and responding. Just bury it with good stuff.
And that's true. I mean, negative people are the ones that want to be heard. So, to help have your community help you is great advice. Again, the book is called
Salon Business, How to Survive in Good Times and Bad. It's available on Amazon, and please go out and buy it and try it and review it. It's the most important thing.
Review it well. So, Jeff Grissler, thanks for giving us this time.
No bad Yelp reviews.
Thank you so much, and have a great show. We'll see you. Bye.